Lovelies, happy Wednesday, at least Wednesday where I'm at. It's the 12th of May. We'll see when I post this. I've been wanting to make this video, or it's a topic that I've thought about discussing, but I want to think through and process things that I share. However, but one of the reasons I started creating content and that I want to create content is to help people feel less alone and to share my authentic self, to help other people be their authentic self and share their story and stand in their truth. And it's relevant because Mother's Day just passed this Sunday. And for a lot of people, Mother's Day can be a difficult day for many reasons. If you don't talk to your mom, if your mom has passed, if it's just a hectic and tumultuous relationship, maybe you're no contact. Then there are the people who are trying to become moms and can't, fertility issues. Maybe they've had a kid and they've died, right? Or gone through miscarriages. And all that's very valid. And, taking the space to honor that. I feel as if what's not talked about as much is the grief for people who want to be parents, but who choose not to be parents. And, you know, it's there's like child free, which is once again choosing not to have children. And then there's childless, which is, you know, you don't have a child for whatever reason, like maybe you did. I'm not sure where this category fits, like for me, but I'm one of those people who is making the choice to not have children. And my story, so when I was younger, I wanted to have kids. And then I did have this like few years where I identified with being child free. I didn't necessarily want kids. But then I started to feel that desire again, or that wish to have children of my own. And so I've talked about my health in my socials before. And so I was born with Charcot-Marie tooth, or CMT, which, to make it less complicated, it falls under muscular dystrophy in a way. And essentially, it affects the nervous system and like the myelin sheath on the nerves start to kind of waste away. And that can lead to muscle deterioration. So oftentimes you may see people with CMT have braces like on their legs, struggle to walk, maybe in wheelchairs, right? Or have some other mobility aid. I was, I don't know, I don't know if it's the universe or God. I'm able bodied, right? I have a gait when I walk, and I have some muscle weakness in my extremities, but you can't necessarily tell by looking at me outright that I have this thing. And so CMT is genetic. It's a 50% chance of the dice roll. I got it for me. I got it from my dad. He actually was diagnosed the same time I was, and so that was a factor. Despite that, I still thought, well, maybe I could have kids, like biologically. But then I got diagnosed with multiple sclerosis, and that was back in 2019, which is another condition of the nervous system and another thing that affects, just your mobility. And with MS, it affects your cognition and your speech and all types of things. Once again, whether it be the universe or God or whatever power there is, I am able bodied once again. And I like my MS is like steady. Um, I got diagnosed a couple months later. I got put on an infusion, which is like the highest category of drug modifying therapy you can get put on. And I've been stable ever since. So EMS is hereditary, right? Not genetic. So hereditary meaning that if I have biological children, it increases the chance percentage wise that they can develop MS in their lifetime. And so after that, which sometimes I think, the CMT should have been enough of a decision for me to not have biological kids. But after the MS, I made a decision of it's not in the cards for me. And I just felt it would be personally, and this is me and everyone's different. I felt personally it would be a selfish decision to try and have biological kids. And just also, I'm able bodied now and doing well on my own. But if I, like, knock on wood, if I deteriorate, would I be able to take care of my kids? Um, and I, you know, don't imagine having kids without a partner. Things are expensive. That's kind of the second point is life is expensive. Um, I manage things, right? I pay my bills, but I still have debt, student loan debt. I have credit card debt, like the average American. And I would want myself to be in the best position possible financially to have a child or children. And I don't think in this current state of the world and economy that is possible. And that doesn't feel fair to bring a child into that either. And, so that's also kind of partly why adoption is off the table. And adoption is also traumatic. And I don't know if it would sit right for me to do that. Right. I mean, there's ethical adoption, but I don't know. I mean, it ties it back into I'm getting older and finances, and so then there's fostering. I could foster, but it ties back into I don't have the setup financially. And yes, when you foster, you get paid by the state, but I don't feel like I'm in the position to take care of a child. I don't have enough space. I don't have like the resources. And so as of right now, the decision in the outlook is that I'm not having kids in this lifetime. And as the years go on, I mean, the grief is subtle. It is just in the background, right? Every time I know someone who has a baby, or I see kids, or once again Mother's Day, I feel that twinge of pain. Um, I also just think with everything going on in the world right now, sometimes I have moments where I'm like, damn, I didn't ask to be here. I didn't ask to be here and put into the society that is fueled by capitalism and racism and prejudice and all these just things happening, that I don't know. I don't feel I would want to bring a kid into that. And that's once again just me. But it still sucks. And I still grieve because I think I would have been a really good parent. And so Mother's Day is always a hard day for me, or it's getting harder as I get older. But I know there are other people out there, right, who probably want to be parents, and maybe it's genetics, maybe it's just the state of the world and, their ethics and morals, but who have also made a decision like me to not have kids. And that includes, once again, biological adoption, fostering, and it sucks. It sucks. So I just wanted to acknowledge people who can relate and share my story.